Hey, top of the morning to you. Thank you for joining us on Cochise County Sports Show. Paul and Dave. I'm Dave Davies. That is Paul Corder. Good morning. How's everybody doing out there? How are you doing?
Say except good morning. That's not how the song goes. I'm doing great, Dave. How you doing today?
I'm always well, brother. I'm always well. As always, we're sitting here at the Sierra Vista Golf Club at Pueblo Del Sol. This is a live, interactive show. We're going to be doing a giveaway here, but we'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, we're at Sierra Vista Golf Center at Pueblo Del Sol. This is active to everybody. Like, it is
open
73
to
degrees
the
right
public.
now. 73 degrees. I'm still in flip-flops. It is beautiful out here. Come down to Sierra Vista Golf Center at Pueblo Del Sol. Come say hi to Jake the Snake.
Hey,
And,
good news.
Come play some golf. We're going to go pick up my car from the shop. We're going to play 9 holes after we're done here.
Nailed that intro, Dave. No, I'm just kidding. As always, this is brought to you by Synergy HomeCare, providing non-medical home care for people that struggle with activities of daily living. And if you are a family caregiver, you take care of a neighbor or any loved one, you can be getting paid for that service. Call them today at 520-685-1035. Let them know how, or ask them how that can happen.
Synergy Home Care is becoming like the best company in Sierra Vista. Like it's just like very quickly becoming that company.
Becoming, I mean, it already is. Gerald Morgan says, "What's going on with your team, Dave?" He's talking about the Seahawks.
I hope not, because we blew out Kirk Cousins. That guy stinks.
Anyway, go ahead. We also have one more sponsor to get through.
Yes, and as always, we are here because of Texas Roadhouse.
Roadhouse. Nailed it.
Go ahead.
Boy, we are on point today. Let's restart.
Well, I got something new for you. I'm at Roadhouse the next couple days, but any day, if you go into Texas Roadhouse and you mention that you heard them mentioned on our sports show, you get free fried pickles or potato skins. So, did you need a better reason to go into Texas Roadhouse other than a free appetizer just for mentioning that you watched our show?
This is why it's so hard to lose weight. Every time you want to do it, someone gives you free food.
Those potato skins are so good.
The pickles, the skins, oh my goodness.
If you go into the back, a little inside information, if you go into the back of the kitchen at Texas Roadhouse, all the employees that are working, there's potato skins all over the back table. That's what we eat while we're at work. So if you want free potato skins, mention that you watched our show, and you'll get them.
Well, that sounds like a deal. We're doing giveaways. We're giving away free food. Mention Cool FM Live Sports Show, and you'll get free food. Gerald Morgan says Arizona behind them. I think he's talking about the Cardinals. And Katie McDonald.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
And the chat says, hello, the Texas Roadhouse interactive chat. But, Dave, boy, do we have some things on the docket. I kind of blindsided you with the new segment where you're going to give predictions. You're going to do that again this week.
Well, you
hope you're ready for that.
I'm awake right now.
Hopefully you're going to do that. Of course, we're going to run down all the high school action, preview the next week as well. Dave's going to have 3 questions for me. But first, before we get into anything, don't forget, official AIA rankings are out right now. Before we get into anything, Dave,
with that.
You said it. We're going to give away a hat starting right now. Dave, what's your question? Get ready in the chat, everybody.
Look at this beautiful hat. We have a lot of these. I'm wearing one right now. Look at me. Look at
we got more over there.
Yeah, I insisted on this hat right here. But so we're going to do this throughout the show. I'm going to give you all a chance. You can only win once, Ryan Russell. And as I always predicate it with, no using the internet for cheating. If you use the internet and you cheat, you're a bad person. So I'm going to ask you a question.
Still get the hat.
If you get the question right, you get this beautiful Sierra Vista, Arizona Golf Center hat.
Or one that's not white, because white stains easy in Arizona.
Kind of on the same theme as last week, I have a football question for you. If you can tell me, who was the quarterback the last time the New York Jets made the playoffs?
Ooh, did you look that one up?
No, I already knew the answer. I don't need to look it up.
You need to look it up just in case.
I looked it up. I looked it up just in case. Just in case I was wrong, I did look it up.
Because we talked about this. Is who we talked about?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Holy.
So if you can tell me who the last quarterback was to lead the New York Jets to the playoffs, you get this beautiful hat right here.
Or one that's not white. And preferably
we have
not
like
stained.
5 of them.
But yeah, so again, folks, let's go ahead and get in the chat and try to win these hats. That rhymed. I'm going to say that from now on. And we got a lot of viewers piling up. And Katie McDonald says Joe Namath. That is incorrect. Rick Gresso.
I will tell you, Katie McDonald, Joe Namath was the only quarterback to bring the Jets to the Super Bowl.
Noreen Carafa says go Tigers. And
there the St. David fans are
all right, so we have our winner.
Wow.
Tristan Lord Woodard says Mark Sanchez.
There it is, the Sam Cheesy, back-to-back ASC championship games, and he was ran out of the league. So how do we pick up the hat? How do they pick
Tristan,
it up?
you could pick up the hat by coming down to the Sierra Vista Golf Center if you live close by, or you could put what area or region you live in, because I am a marketer. I travel all of Cochise County, and you could I could drop it off, message either Paul Quarter or Dave Davies.
Yeah, we'll get you the hat.
Matter of fact, I'll shoot you a message, and we'll figure it all out. Yeah. So that was easy.
Yeah, that was quick. All right, well, this hat now belongs to you. So we'll leave that on the table for you.
All right, then let's go ahead and get into our official coverage of high school sports. Dave.
Oh, what a week for Cochise County, baby.
Oh, for everyone but one team. Let's start with ALA, who had a bye last week, so they remained at 3-2. They do come out and play Harvest Prep Yuma next week, and that's going to be a tester. But the first season of ALA Sierra Vista, 3-2, which is more than I think anyone could have expected.
I have some inside information for you. You might remember this name from Marine Academy. He took a year off to focus on his trade, but he'll be coming back next year to play for ALA. Remember Justice?
Hill?
Right.
No.
Justice for Marine Academy? Justice.
That's not, I remember the nickname.
The
What's his last name?
For Marine, I don't even know.
Oh,
his name is Justice.
So he's playing for...
He will be playing for ALA next year.
Really?
So, yeah, he is back. He's a big kid.
That is a big pickup for ALA.
He's a big kid. Justice is bigger than me at this point, and he's only a sophomore.
It is crazy.
ALA is getting them.
We keep calling them kids and stuff, but like you look at them, like, man, these guys are bigger than. And they got all those young baby faces and stuff. You're like, the body doesn't match the face. But here we go.
I made a comment to him yesterday about football. He's like, "No, I'm coming back." I was like, "I'm going to ALA." I was like, "Okay." So
right,
ALA,
then.
You're getting yourself a linebacker. Just so you know.
That's going to take us to our other Canyon Athletic team, the Marine Academy Eagles. And if anyone knows how the Canyon Athletic Association, where we can find the rankings of them, that would be amazing if you can get those to me.
I have information on that as well. So I did the Saturday Benson game with Logan Seeley. He plays for Marine. He is pumped right now. Marine is number 3. Only top 4 go to the playoffs.
Okay.
Marine is number 3. If they win this week, they will be up to number 2. They will get a home game.
It's not this week. They have a bye this week.
The bye this week. Excuse me. The bye this week. If they win next week, they will get up to number 2, according to Logan Seeley, and they will have a home playoff game.
Yeah, Marine did beat Imagine
Logan
Superstition.
Yeah, Logan was pumped about this game. He said it was a movie.
51-8.
Yeah, he said it was a movie.
The Marine Academy Eagles, we said there was going to be some growing pains jumping up 2 divisions, and I think they put that behind them.
Yep.
Let's talk about some stats. Let's talk about Jeremiah Bethea, 10 of 13, 173 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. We had freshman Zach Franks and freshman Aiden Phillips both reaching the end zone with touchdowns. Isaac Merrill might have been the player of the game for Marine Academy, 2 receiving touchdowns and an interception in this one. Our boy, Logan Seeley, catch him on Cool FM Fridays if he's not playing for Marine.
He'll be doing the Bisbee Tombstone game.
1 receiving touchdown, 2 forced fumbles, and an interception returned for a touchdown.
Yep.
You talk about a movie. That's a movie there for our boy Logan Seeley.
Yeah, he was jacked on Saturday. He's like, you should have seen it. We beat the dog snot out of him.
Oh, I think, was it Logan? Logan also took a kick return back for a touchdown as well and had a fumble recovery.
Yes.
So that boy filled up the box score in every way possible. Jack Jensen with 2 tackles for losses. Isaac Hively, a name from last year, remember, first time getting mentioned on the show, but as the Marine just started putting their stats in before our show. So thank you, Coach Champton and whoever's doing the stats. He had 2 tackles for loss. Carlos Aponte had a fumble recovery in this ball game. Jake Richardson had a tackle for loss and a fumble recovery. Nate Hollinger had 2 tackles for losses and a sack. Johnny Torres had 2 interceptions, and Mason Meskey had 2 fumble recoveries. Marine Academy taking over the St. David Power Hour with those stats.
You have to put in your stats when you do it like that.
Yeah,
Logan was so jacked. He's like, you should have been there. It was a beatdown. Marine Academy is fired up right now. Another team we can put in that vibe category.
Oh, absolutely. And by the way, folks, these are last week's rankings. We might have Marine shifting up quite a bit after that victory.
You think?
You never know. That's going to take us over to the Valley Union Blue Devils, whose season unfortunately ended 5-3 on the season, 4-1 in sections, and that 1 loss coming to the St. David Tigers in sections. They lost to Superior 46-16. And that's going to do it for the Valley Union Blue Devils. You hear Luna, Stephen De La Cruz, Dylan Mitchell, and big shout out to Marshall Larson, who is finishing the season top 10 in sacks in all of Arizona, regardless of class. So the boys tried, they gave it their effort, they gave it their all, but unfortunately just not enough.
We started our season with the Valley Union Blue Devils. Like they were fun to watch. They had a great year, 4-1 in sections, and it wasn't good enough. Boys, you had a year. Don't hang your head.
Yeah, we just talked about it 2A style, but it comes. We talked about a 5A style. The disrespect to Cochise County teams, unbelievable. Especially coming off of a Cochise County team winning a championship in fall, winter, and spring last year.
Yeah, we pull one off in every.
I want some respect.
Every season we win a title. So, and I expect one coming from football and from one of these teams.
Is that your DaveStradamus pick?
It is not.
Oh, okay.
We have a team. We have 4 teams on this table that can win the whole thing. So.
Well, I see Katie McDonald in there tagging every single person that's affiliated with the St. David Tigers.
They know it's coming.
I think it's time. I think it's time for our St. David Power Hour. Imagine graphics coming up for that.
Yeah, they know it's coming because every time St. David, it was supposed to be game of the year. 2 top 5 teams going at it. One of them looked like a top 5 team.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, before we get into the Valley Union finishes their season ranked 13, 1 away from the playoff line.
4-1 in sections.
4-1 in sections, 5-3 overall. Just not good enough because you're playing Cochise County. But, again, big props to the Valley Union Blue Devils. And like you said, Dave, going over to the St. David Tigers, 8-1. 1 loss on the season, 6-0, and the loss, they put up 34 points in. They just couldn't play defense. And talking to the St. David crowd after that, they felt like they could have won that game.
Yeah, we saw them that night. We were in Benson. We saw them. Like, we know what happened.
So they take on Desert Christian.
And how big is that kid, by the way?
St. David was ranked 4. Desert Christian was ranked 5. St. David won.
That's a good word. That's the optimal word.
60. I think it's 14. I thought it was 8. 66-14 is what I have written down. St. David earning themselves a playoff bye in round 1, currently ranked number 4. Controversy in this game, but Dave, how about those St. David Tigers?
It's a factory. I don't even know who I was talking to. I talked to a lot of people about a lot of things. I brought up St. David. It is a factory. Like that's what I was saying. That's like a small little town north of Tombstone, and just over and over and over again with St. David. And again, they played a top 5 team and wasn't even close. I'll see you in the title game.
So that's going to bring us to our stats. Cedar Haney running the ball, so not a lot of passing in this game for St. David. They ran the ball for 383 yards. You heard that right, against the top 5 team. Cedar Haney led the charge.
That's what you call announcing your presence with authority.
No kidding, right? 13 carries, 156 yards, and 2 touchdowns in this game. Cedar Haney also returned 2 kickoffs for touchdowns in this one.
The kid strong as wood.
Is that a stat line or what? Chase Pacheco coming in there, 10 carries, 130 yards with a touchdown of his own. He did most of his damage on defense, if you can believe that.
I'm just going to kick back and listen. Excuse me, folks.
Top Pacheco ran the ball for 2 touchdowns in this game, 43 yards or something like that. I can't remember what they were, but 2 touchdowns. Had 2 pancake blocks in this game. Luke Haymore contributed a touchdown and a pancake block. Keston Richardson, we know all about them Richardsons, touchdown and a pancake block in this game. Gannon Carafa actually had 5 pancake blocks in this game and led the team. That's going to lead us to the controversy, even though we do have a lot more stats to get to. Gannon Carafa, and I actually saw the film on this one. I haven't shown you yet, Dave, but trust me, and you always do when it comes to football. Gannon Carafa got ejected from the game for a targeting call.
It has to be like the worst targeting call, like, it's a missile.
So, and I texted the person.
Ejected for that? Like,
just shout out Katie McDonald for sending me the footage. I texted the person. She says, is this targeting or is this a penalty? First of all, it wasn't even a blindside block because he hit him square on the shoulder, right in his face.
Cam Chancellor style, yeah.
So he saw him the entire time. So that's not a blindside block. He did move, but it's not basketball. It's not a blocking foul just because you moved. He didn't launch himself. He didn't make forcible contact to the head and neck area. It wasn't a blindside block. So why is it called targeting? Well, he didn't use his helmet as a weapon.
I mean, bad call aside, the ejection means that he will not be available
for a big playoff game.
For their playoff game.
But they are getting it appealed, and if the appeal is not reversed, I don't know what to tell you, St. David. You got the short end of the stick. But I saw it. I mean, we can run the video. I have it on my phone, and it is probably – it's not even a blindside block. It was a mercy call in the first place because it was a big hit.
during a blowout, yeah. And
anyway, Gannon, sorry
you're
that
already
happened
winning
to
by
you.
blowout.
I don't want you to feel like even if they don't overturn it, you let your team down. That was a very clean play. Nothing to be ashamed of on that one.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see that footage because I heard about it.
I did say you could call blindside block just because they're being overly protective, like the NFL was with blows to the head of the players, and they've corrected now.
But he said he hit him in the chest.
Yeah, with his shoulder pad.
Yeah.
Anyway, so sorry about that. That's a little downer for the St. David Power Hour. And Luke Gorman also contributed 2 pancake blocks. Going back to Gannon Carafa, he contributed an interception defensively in this game. Emmett Etter had a tackle for loss. Grayson Merrill with an interception.
We've heard that name a lot this year.
Oh, yeah. We've heard them all a lot this year. Grayson Merrill contributed an interception. Adrian Nurnberger had an interception in this one as well. Chase Pacheco led the team in a lot of different ways, none more important than 6 tackles for losses, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. Top Pacheco also contributing to his Arizona State leading sack total of 18. Top Pacheco leads.
I didn't know that.
Regardless,
That's insane.
Regardless of class, 6A to 1A, Top Pacheco has the lead in sacks in all of Arizona.
Jeez.
Luke Haymore contributed 3 tackles in the backfield. Keston Richardson 2 tackles in the backfield and a sack in this one, and that's going to do it for your St. David Power Hour.
See you in the playoffs. Like you said, St. David is they're one of the teams on this table that are aiming for a state title. They want the whole thing, and they're good enough to do it. They just proved it. Top 5 team, yeah, take that and stick it in your fridge.
Richard Wilson in the chat says that call was because of the score. I agree. Ridiculous call, not St. David's fault.
You're
better
blowing
Desert
somebody
Christian.
out and some kid.
That's fine. Okay, make the call, whatever. Don't eject the kid to make him miss a playoff game. That doesn't make any sense. I saw the film. Clear as day. It is not a targeting. It is not a blind. It wasn't a penalty in the first either which way.
Yeah, ejection, yeah.
Again, that's going to do it for your St. David
Speaking
Power
of the devil,
Hour.
When we get to the Benson game, I have an apology to hand out.
And that's going to be number 4. Remember, St. David does get not only host the playoff game, they get their bye week, so they're hosting round 2 as well. Great job from the St. David Tigers. Hopefully, Carafa gets that appeal overturned, and we'll see how that goes. Dave, that's going to take us to our 4A, the Douglas Bulldogs.
They stink.
4-0 since Dave used his powers for good of daving, saying they weren't going to win another game. They've gone 4-0 since, all in sections. They just beat Rio Rico.
It's getting funny how I do this every year.
41-3. They take on Rincon University, which should be an easy win for the Douglas Bulldogs. And then they play Sararita, and Sararita is undefeated in sections just like the Bulldogs, and that's going to be a lineup for a section victory. Don't get too excited. We know if you win your region in 4A, you still can't qualify for the playoffs automatically, which doesn't make sense, but whatever. I'm sure the rankings are up now, but by the time we got all the rankings down, Douglas was number 28, and they didn't update the 4A rankings in time, so we had to go.
I was like, you know how it is down in Cochise County. Like, you have to be, like, unbeatable to even make the playoffs. But the Douglas Bulldogs, regardless of what ends up happening, again, it's becoming kind of funny. Like, I write you off, and you just go undefeated.
Noreen McGinn Carafa in our Texas Roadhouse chat says he wants to play his last home game as a senior. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, they appeal. Like, get that done.
Oh, it is being appealed right now. It is what it is.
We have tape on it. So it's not like it was my word against
Clear
your
as
word.
day.
We
Clear
have
as
tape
day.
on it.
I saw that. I was just like, at first I'm like, I had to play it 3 times. I'm like, what targeting? Where? And then I saw like a big hit. I'm like, oh my goodness, here we go. Anyway, let's get over to some Douglas stats.
Yes.
The Douglas Bulldogs, Jose Ivan Aguirre, 8 of 13.
Ivan Higuera.
8 of 13 for 117 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown in this ball game. Jason Hurtado had his coming out party like we've been waiting for him to do, and he has had some good games, not as good as this. 27 carries, 200 yards, and 2 touchdowns in this one. Oscar Pearson with a touchdown in this ball game. Matt Hudson with a touchdown in this ball game. Going over to our defensive stats, Pearson as well led the team with 12 tackles, recovered a fumble. Pablo Duarte had a tackle in the backfield. Jose Ocano had a tackle in the backfield, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery for a touchdown in this ball game. David Frembrez and Kenny Nelson also contributed interceptions. Frembrez and Nelson and Acuno also top 10 in interceptions this year. So the secondary for the Douglas Bulldogs been putting in a lot of work.
A random shout out to Ivan Aguirre. I was having a football conversation about Cochise County football. People were talking about speed. Sebastian Lopez, Landon Ward came up, and somebody was like, "Oh, you mean like the quarterback from Douglas, like that kid?" So just so you know, just random shout out to Ivana Guerra, where you were mentioned in that same category as Lopez and Landon Ward as the fastest kids in Cochise County, because you're a show.
I would, if I had my money on it, he would be in that second tier. I think Lopez and Ward are in a class of themselves when it comes to speed. I just never seen anything like it.
But yeah, I'm just saying, like, he was mentioned in that same breath.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Where they're like, yeah, like the quarterback from Douglas. I'm like, yeah, like Ivana Guerra, yeah, just like that kid.
For sure.
So yeah, random shout out to
we have
Ivana
so
Guerra.
much talent in Cochise County, and I'm just glad we get to do this and showcase it for colleges that might not get the game film on these kids, because nobody in these towns have budgets. Yeah, it's tough. It's just tough for them. So this is just something that is very rewarding. In the last few years, we talk about Synergy and all the things we're doing here. I've been doing rewarding work, whereas in my first 36
Feels
years,
good, doesn't it?
Yeah, I haven't done anything rewarding. Matter of fact, I was in manufacturing where I knew people took my products that I made and threw them in the trash right away. So it just is what it is.
Yeah, that's why I said it going into Bisbee last Friday. This doesn't get old. I love my job. I love my job. I love working at Texas Roadhouse. Roadhouse.
All right, eyes in me. Well, so the Douglas Bulldogs again. We don't have the rankings. I mean, I could check Dave's phone, but I want to keep up with the Texas Roadhouse
We do it
chat.
for likes. We do it for love.
That's going to take us over to, we're going to save Buena for last, because I'm sure you have a mini diatribe about that.
It's Marana week, baby. No, let's do some Buena football. It's Marana week.
Well, I wanted to
say
save with
for 6
No. This is setting people up for them to keep watching our show.
It's Marana week.
That's not what your diatribe's about. Trust me on that. I'll tell you the ranking in a second. The Benson Bobcats, let's go over to our 2A team. They had to play Saturday at noon, and David, seemed like they came out a little bit sluggish because of it, but that second half, they went up and destroyed people. A game you and Logan Seeley covered. They beat Catalina 60-12, who is a better team. They're probably the top tier of the worst teams in the San Pedro region. That they do have a defense. But next week, the game of the season for the Benson Bobcats and the Wilcox Cowboys.
Well, we're going to get into that when we talk about rankings. I'm going to talk about the game that I was at. Logan, by the way, great freaking job. I had a blast working with you. You're good. You're good to go.
The kid that plays football knows football?
Yeah, you're right. Like he's the second best color man that there is. But
I just assumed you meant me.
I did. And it's so funny.
That's got me into trouble
talking
before.
About that, I was watching Tom Brady do the Chiefs game. Apparently, Mahomes sees the field in 3D. Did you know that?
Yeah.
And like every other human being ever, Jesus, Brady, if you're going to glaze the guy, glaze him correctly.
He
but anyways,
40. Continue. I'm sorry. We're off subject.
The Benson Bobcats, again, it was 12-12 at half. The other team, Catalina, had a really good player that happened to sustain a really bad knee injury. But it was 12-12 at half. Everybody's like,
that was so weird.
I'm walking like through the Benson people like at halftime break, and I'm like, what is going on? And they scored 4 touchdowns in 3 minutes and 45 seconds to open that second half. There was a mossing, there was a truck stick, there were some home runs being hit. Benson just went nuts in the second half. I asked Coach Rasmussen at halftime, after the game, I was like, what happened at halftime? And he just kind of smiled, and he's like, I reminded them who they were and why they were what they were doing here, and apparently it was pretty firm, and it worked. Benson Bobcats scored a lot of touchdowns very quickly.
There's a lot of excuse, a lot of reasons
Clint
to be
Davis.
made about that. People forget, when you step on the field, it's not just you're your best version of yourself. And they have these routines. They know Friday Night Lights, and so they switched up to 12 p.m. They have to wake up probably earlier in the morning than they normally do on a Saturday. They're high school kids, you know. And so now they have to get up early in the morning. They have to be at the facility. They got to be there at least a couple hours early, get that going. So obviously some cobwebs to shake out. And like you said, Chris Rasmussen made sure they were shaken out by the second half.
Oh, he sure did. And Benson went nuts. I had to rewatch the highlights of that second half.
I saw your mossing. That was pretty good, Jason Santo. Shout out.
Santo. Yeah. That was a mossing. But, yeah, Benson went freaking nuts in the second half and just blew the doors off of them, as they should have for the whole game.
No, yeah. But again,
hats off to Catalina. Like, they stepped up for a minute, but at the end of the day,
Catalina's got a pretty good defense. They held, Bisbee to 26 points or whatever, and it wasn't teams run away from them, but not as much as like a Palo Verde or a Santa Rita.
Yeah, no, Benson blew the doors off.
So they're right there. Dawson Judd, let's get into some stats. 14 of 22, 209 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. Dawson Judd in the last few weeks really taking that step up. His senior year is going to be super fun to watch. And they might even make the postseason because the Benson Bobcats, Dave, ranked number 16 in 2A. So that's 3 Cochise County teams, spoiler, they know the rest, that are going to be in the top 16 going to the playoffs with 2 weeks left to go.
Dawson Judd is commanding that offense like he's been there for years. Like
he has been.
Like like he's been the quarterback. Dawson Judd is so comfortable evading pressure, rolling out, identifying his progressions. He is just taking command of this team.
Best curveball in
Cochise to watch.
Best curveball in Cochise County. I see you, Dawson. As a sophomore, he had the best curveball in Cochise County.
Yeah, he is taking full command of the Benson Bobcats. They belong to him.
Flint Davis, 8 carries, 150 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That boy can light a fire if he wants to. Andrew Workman, a touchdown. Ooh. Tyler Russian, a touchdown, or Russian. David Harris, a touchdown.
Russian, I don't know who the kid is. He is the most popular kid in Benton, Arizona. When they announce his name, the crowd goes crazy. So I'll tell you about that touchdown. Tyler Russian, he had a end around for about 25 yards, and he falls 6 yards short of the goal line. This is late in the game. And everybody's like, oh! And I'm like, give him the ball again. Give him the ball. And he runs it in, and the whole place lit up. I don't know who the kid is, who you are, but everybody loves you. And
Russia.
It was like the big moment of the game for the Benson Bobcats when that kid scored.
Out of Russia, Tyler scored you.
Yeah, and Russia, touchdown to make you.
Where was
that
I?
kid's like the most popular kid in Benton, Arizona.
David Harris, Raleigh Evans, Jason Santa, we
Yep.
mentioned their mossing. Each scored touchdowns in this one.
Yep.
Going over defensively, Andrew Workman had a tackle in the backfield.
Yep.
Raleigh Evans had an interception return for a touchdown.
Yep.
If you're wondering, folks, who I'm picking for our players of the week, I don't know. I'll be honest. Just take your pick. I'm going to read off 90 names.
I would say Davis went ham, but then again, we have another player that won actual player of the state.
Raleigh Evans, fumble recovery. Colton Deskins, 9 tackles, 1 in the backfield. Abraham Figueroa, a tackle in the backfield. Harley Van Warmer, who would be in the top 10 of Arizona if they ever kept that stat for tackles in the backfield, had 1. Outside a forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries.
Yep.
Mason Stanley, first time we mentioned him, I do believe, had a forced fumble and a fumble recovery.
Oh, is that who that was?
And that's going to do
Sorry,
it
Mason,
for your
I couldn't catch your number on
Benson
that play.
Bobcats.
I couldn't catch your number on that play. Mason Stanley, I apologize. We couldn't catch your number. I didn't know who that was that forced that fumble.
Well, our Texas Roadhouse chat is kind of dimmed down, folks. If you have any questions for us, go ahead and get them in the chat.
Yeah, say good morning.
We will answer them.
Tell us what you have for breakfast. I haven't eaten yet.
And before you ask the question, no, Gannon Carafa should not have been ejected, and it shouldn't have been a penalty. So we don't have to ask the question. That's going to move us over to, let's go with the team they're playing, the Wilcox Cowboys. Moving to 4-1 in sections with a comfortable victory over Palo Verde, 50-8, 5-3 overall. Remember, Benson and Wilcox front-loaded their schedule with heavy teams, and it's paying dividends for them right now. So Wilcox will be at Benson, a game that we're going to be at as well for our Cochise County Game of the Week, and that's going to be a tough test. That's basically, like you said, Dave, for the postseason.
All right, now we can talk about this. Yes. So what is Wilcox ranked right now?
11. Thank you for asking.
So Benson is 16. Okay. To what my co-broadcaster said, Bisbee wrote their story last Friday.
Yep.
Bisbee won their first region in 63 years.
All but won their first region.
Yeah, all but won it. So they wrote their story. That's why we had a lot of Bisbee people ask us, are you going to Tombstone next week? No, we're not. We're going to be in Benson, Arizona, as they play the Wilcox Cowboys. Benson at 16 right now, you have to win this game. If you want to go to the postseason, you have to beat the Wilcox Cowboys. Wilcox, if you want to ensure that you're in the postseason, you need to beat the Benson Bobcats. This just turned into like all the marbles. All the marbles are on the table right now between Benson and Wilcox. It's going to be a game. And those defenses are so good.
Well, you think about it, too. Wilcox is only 3 spots out
of a home game.
So, yeah, that's a lot of teams that could slip up. 10 teams in front of them slip up. They could host a home game. So who knows how that's going to work.
Benson's a tough place to win a game at. They have the best intro of all the teams that we have in 2A. Like Benson,
basketball intro is the best in Cochise County, by the way.
But yeah, that's a tough place to win a game. So the Wilcox Cowboys, Benson Bobcats, it's all on the table on Friday. I'll be there firsthand to watch it, baby.
Well, as we normally do with the Wilcox Cowboys, we're going to start with the Warden. Landon Ward, 7 carries, 252 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
You wonder who your player of the week is?
No. So I thought about this already. If you've gotten 2 players of the week, Ward, Lopez, Nash, Cash, Moore, you can't get them anymore. Okay, we got to spread the love around.
Fair. I mean, you know who the player of the week is? It's Landon Ward.
Ismael Cuevas added a touchdown rushing. I think he's had a rushing touchdown in most of their games. I can't remember what the streak is, like 4 or 5 now.
For double digits.
The Rifle, Remington Todd, led the team defensively with 8 tackles, also had an interception. Osvaldo Rodriguez, a name we've been mentioning more and more for the Wilcox Cowboys, 1 sack in this game. Christian
Teeters
had a sack in this ball game. Then Alan Allred as well had 2 fumble recoveries in this ball game. Of course, Wilcox going against Palo Verde. That's a time to get some of the young kids in and start playing the young kids. So they didn't fill up the box score as much as they could have.
I should have grabbed a special effect for us. Should have grabbed the trash can. I think it'd be like,
no,
trash
let's
can.
not do that, dude. They're high
Trash
school.
can.
Wait, put this back. This is representing ALA. Oh. Until we get an ALA hat. Thank you to.
I'll talk to Justice.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Absolutely. Oh, here we go. Katie McDonald in the chat says, Benson is a home game. Yeah, Benson is a home game.
Yep.
And she said, my boys and I will walk on down. Absolutely. Hey, go ahead and say hi to us. We're going to be on top of the booth. Can't miss us.
Yeah, we get there early. I'll be walking around talking to coaches. Like, come say hi to us. I make him do all the work while I can do all the fun stuff.
I'll be setting up the millions of electronics that I decided to put on our cameras and things like that. But, hey.
I get the fun stuff.
Haven't had anything go wrong since baseball last year. Those were troubling times, brother.
You know, it's so funny because I go to talk to coaches and all the pregame stuff, and they're like, "Where's Paul at?" I'm like, "Oh, he's up there setting up." Like, you get me. Like I always point at him. I'm like, "We see way up there, like setting up the stuff. Like that's where he
Dave's
is."
extroverted. I'm introverted. We all have our strengths. My strength is not because I always feel like I'm in the way of If I jump on that field, I'm like, "Oh, I'm in the white lines. I gotta."
Oh, I have an AIA pass. I just walk on.
So do I. That's going to move us. Let's get over to the Tombstone Yellow Jackets because something we talked about earlier, Dave, is a little bit of disrespect coming Tombstone's way. They are currently ranked 23. They beat the brakes off of Tanca Verde. Tanca Verde is ranked 19th. Tanca Verde is a team that has more section losses than the Tombstone Yellow Jackets. Their record is worse. But somehow they are ranked 4 spots ahead of Tombstone.
That doesn't make any sense at all. We've watched Tanca Verde. Again, head coach, nice guy. But, no, that doesn't make any sense. And Tombstone, by the way, I know that you feel slightly disrespected about your lack of coverage. You will be getting covered on Friday.
They've been covered a lot.
What?
They've been covered a lot.
Oh, have they? Well, either way.
1, 2, 3. I think they've had 3 or 4 games
Logan
already.
Seeley will be in Tombstone this Friday.
You got to remember, other people do games besides.
Yeah. I say, Logan Seeley will be there on Friday to watch you host the Bisbee Pumas. And we talk about the disrespect in the rankings. Tombstone, if you beat Bisbee, you have a shot at this thing. Like, they can't deny you if you beat the Bisbee. And we talked to the Bisbee people. This is the hardest place to win a football game in Cochise County. It is so hard to go into Tombstone and win that game. It's an environment. It's just different.
Here's something that I just made up in my head because I remember it. We've been broadcasting Cochise County for 3 years. The last 2 times these teams have met, the away team has won.
Yes.
So this is going to be in Tombstone. Tombstone trying to right that ship and make it a home team
Superstar
kind of
company,
celebration.
Yeah, they're going to, like, if you beat Bisbee, they can't deny you. Like, you get that top 16.
Tombstone beat Santa Rita 56-0, moving their section record to 3-2, 5-3 overall. And again, like we mentioned, they host Bisbee, so a shutout victory drops you to 23, 56-0. DJ Elias in this game, 4 or 5, 81 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also added a rushing touchdown, but the offensive player of the game for the Tombstone Yellow Jackets, our boy Jemiah Wallace, 4 carries, 148 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That is about almost 40 yards a carry, 37 yards a carry off the top of my head, something like that. I think that is 37 yards a carry. Look at me go. And 2 touchdowns. How about our boy Jemiah Wallace?
Jemiah Wallace, I run into the Tombstone assistant coach every week at Circle K, and he is, like, we talked about the record and everything. Remember their opening game, 7-6, and he's like, if we don't make it, like, it's that.
Yeah.
He's like, he talks about that game where it's like we held them to 7 points and we lost the game. And so
underrated defense from the Tombstone Yellow. We always talk about Benson's defense. Tombstone has a very underrated defense.
Yeah, but again, like, things happen this season for the Tombstone Yellow Jackets. You have a chance to right this ship and beat the Bisbee Pumas. If you beat Bisbee, they can't deny you. Like, they can't. Like, Bisbee is like, what is Bisbee right now?
Bisbee, we'll get to Bisbee Pumas in a second.
Well, I'm just saying, like, they can't deny Tombstone. That's it. You have a trash can in your last game of the season. You have Bisbee.
Just say win. Just say you have your win.
They have a win. You know, everybody knows that I don't have a filter. You have a win in your last game of the season. If you beat the Bisbee Pumas, it's going to be hard for them to keep you out of the playoffs.
Joel Kachakian, a touchdown on this one. Ivan Amaya, a touchdown. Jabari Thomas, receiver extraordinaire, filling out Malachi Keller's shoes very well. A touchdown on this one. Hunter Gracemore, a touchdown and a forced fumble. Andrew Gracemore, a touchdown and an interception. Aiden Luna, 2 tackles for losses in this one. Thomas Smith with a sack and a forced fumble in this ball game. Dakota Estrada, Jacob McLaughlin, and then Caden Bidgood. That kid's been good for a while. 1 sack each in this ball game.
Very good.
The Tombstone Yellow Jackets looking to get into postseason contention this week with a win against the Bisbee Pumas. That's going to take us to our Bisbee Pumas, currently ranked number 6 in the AIA rankings. So they jumped up 1 after their victory over Tanque Verde. Tanque Verde not
as good as advertised.
I was going to say not as good as Catalina, but for some reason you beat Catalina, you drop. You beat Tanque Verde, you go. It doesn't matter. Tanque Verde winless against our Cochise County teams, and I think they just have Benson late to play.
Oh, that's right. Benson has with 2 good ones. So, yeah, Benson, you beat Wilcox, you beat Tanque Verde, you're in. Like, that's it.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and you're going to beat Tanque Verde.
Anyway, we're done talking about the AIA rankings now. The disrespect. The Bisbee Pumas beat Tanque Verde 35-21 to move to 9-1 on the season. No, that's 7-1 on the season. Sorry, I wrote that wrong. 5-0 in sections. They are at the Tombstone Yellow Jackets house this week for a game that they need to win to host that playoff game and make Dave and his DaveStradamus pick come to fruition.
How much I love my job. Last Friday's football game was the most fun football game that I've ever done. Again, it's been a 3-year journey with the boys, and did they deliver or did they deliver? All of a sudden, it's 14-14, 11 seconds left in the half, and I'm like, boy, it would take a miracle. And then Hunter Wright fumbles the ball on purpose and then runs a hook and ladder to Sebastian Lopez. See ya!
What a play.
I didn't have a voice. Game. I didn't have a voice the next day for the Benson game because of that play.
That was J.P. Wildman, our chat, our resident expert for all of
Coach. He was losing his mind for half an hour.
Yeah, he could not. He's like, why would you kick it deep to Sebastian Lopez?
Why would you kick it? They were in the booth with us for saying the same thing. Like, number 3's back there. That's kind of weird. Why would you kick it to him? Like,
what a play that was, and that definitely won the game for the Bisbee Pumas because that was the time and the momentum of the game was going back to Tanque Verde. Yes. They were down 2, or did they tie the ball game with that? I can't remember.
It was 14-7, and then Tanque Verde just scores that touchdown with super running back that they have, and then Lopez.
I feel like Bisbee was up, but it could have been a tie ball game. Lopez came up. They take that one back. The old double dip as well, a sucker punch and a double dip because they got the ball first at half, and then that
Lopez
at halftime.
That dime into Miles Schuler. Oh, yeah.
Well, let's talk about Sebastian Lopez, ineligible to win Offensive Player of the Week ever again.
I love you.
And he could win Defensive Player of the Week this week as well, but we're going to keep him off because he's got enough recognition for 3 years.
He had a pick in that game. That's right.
He is just so fun to watch. I'm sorry, everyone. Like, it's just really fun to watch Sebastian Lopez.
He's the best we got, okay? No disrespect to anybody on this table. Lopez is the best we got.
Sebastian Lopez.
3-year privilege.
Sebastian Lopez, 10 of 17 in this ballgame, 244 yards. This is coming after his 375-yard 5-touchdown performance last week. Threw for 3 touchdowns. He also ran for 40 yards in this ballgame. Joseph Coronado in the chat says, hashtag Puma Pride, our Texas Roadhouse Cool FM live chat. So Sebastian Lopez in those last 2 games, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions, Dave. One last thing I'm going to say about it. We're going to move on because we got a lot of recognition in this ballgame for the Bisbee Pumas.
Yeah, we
is 2 plays. There was the first drive of the third quarter when they got the double dip. Sebastian Lopez in 2 plays grounded the ball. He just threw it in the dirt, threw it to where no one could catch it out of the pocket. And earlier in the season, we'd see him try to make those plays, throw it across body,
the middle of the field,
and it's intercepted. He throws these 2 in the ground, and then all of a sudden, on 3rd and 5, they get was it Schuler or Wright on that? I think this one was Hunter Wright. It doesn't matter. They both had big touchdowns in this game. And he just throws it down the field and gives a touchdown. That's what I want to talk about with high school football. You live to play another down. It's tough to teach these kids who have done it all their lives, just made things happen. Sometimes you just have to live to play another down, and you get rewarded with big 60-yard touchdowns.
Yeah, you pointed out during the game. Those two throwaways by Lopez, the smart plays that he wasn't making earlier in the year, led to that third down touchdown.
Well, that's, people give a lot of announcers grief for, some of the top quarterbacks when they ground it and throw an incompletion or whatever, because that's just something you need to see. You want them to make smart plays, and when they do, because that's what separates the top from Derek Carr, because he's never going to make a smart play. Now here we go.
Stray bullets to Derek Carr.
Stray bullets to Derek Carr. You're a Raider for life, brother. Don't think I forgot.
So yeah, let's.
Ryan Russell in our Texas Roadhouse chat. How you doing, Ryan?
So yeah, let's talk about Michael Coronado and company.
Bryson Meyer, first of all, 9
Big
rushes
ball.
for
Oh,
85
beast
yards.
mode.
5 catches, 105 yards, and a touchdown. Almost 200 yards of offense from Bryson. Beast mode, big bombs, arm of fire, Meyer. Miles Schuler had a big touchdown reception. Hunter Wright had a big touchdown reception. Oh, that's the name. I wrote it weird. I thought I had more stats. Let's go over to Michael Coronado and company on defense. Well, first we'll talk about Spencer Anthony, 14 tackles, 1 in the backfield in this ball game. Jackson Alvarez, 11 tackles and interception in this ball game. Sebastian Lopez with an interception, a forced fumble, and, of course, that kickoff return touchdown that we talked about. Emilio Diaz-Lopez, 9 tackles and a tackle for loss. Fabian Hernandez matching that stat line exactly. But Michael Coronado, 10 tackles in this ball game, an interception, and that interception that led to the game-sealing touchdown for the Bisbee Pumas. And like you said, Dave, I mentioned it on the broadcast, that Michael Coronado got that team going defensively because Tanque Verde was running the ball. They had a couple mistakes go against them. They were running the ball. Then all of a sudden, Michael Coronado brings the hit stick, and then you saw everyone, Jackson Alvarez, Sebastian Lopez, everyone was bringing the hit stick after that.
It's contagious.
Oh, and yeah, in baseball and football, baby.
And it just all translated. Michael Coronado went nuts in that game. That pick was sexy, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I took it all the way back for a touchdown. But what a game.
He baited him right into it. He's like, no, come on.
From the Bisbee Pumas. And that's going to get us over to our mini diatribe as the Buena Colts moved to 6-1 on the season, 2-0 in sections as they beat Desert Edge View, whichever one it is, 70-0 in this ball game. Their season comes down to this week where they go at Marina, not the number 1 team in 5A, the number 1 team in all of Arizona. And that's who Buena's going in to face. Buena currently drops down to 10 after their 70-0 homecoming victory, 2 spots out of hosting a playoff game. Someone make it make sense to me.
The Buena Colts, they've been talking about this for 6 months. Marana, that's it. It's time. You've been blowing everybody out. You've been doing everything you need to do. It's time. Go get what's yours. You beat Marana, the whole thing is waiting for you at the end of it. Like, that's it. That's all that can be said. That's all needs to be said.
We'll start our stat.
You know what it is. You've been waiting 6 months for it. It's time.
We'll start our stat reading with the person we normally start with, Cash Moore. Not necessarily with his arm in this game. Only 93 yards passing. Did throw for 2 touchdowns. But also, Cash Moore doing his best Sebastian Lopez / Landon Ward impersonation, where I think he ran at 60 or 70 yards for a touchdown in this ball game. Something you never see Nash Moore do is use his legs. Great job from Nash Moore getting that done. Scrappy Bonilla, 7 carries, 144 yards, and 2 touchdowns, moving him up in the top 10.
Did you say 7 for 144?
Yes.
Okay.
And 2 touchdowns. And get ready, we're going to go to the touchdown hour for the Buena Colts as Ricardo Brooks.
Like Oprah. Who wants that touchdown?
Elias Dyson, or is it Elias?
Elias.
You talked to his dad more than I did.
Mr. Dyson.
Mr. Dyson with the I know it's not Elias because that's what we called him last year. A touchdown in this ball game. Michael Luan, a touchdown. Charlie Price, a touchdown. Jaden Thomas, 2 touchdowns in this ball game. The best receiver in Cochise County, getting it done again.
Hunter, right?
The best receiver in Cochise County with his 800-plus yards, getting it done again for the Buena Colts. We're going to move over to our defensive stats. Daniel Bolin once again leads the team in tackles with 11. Also had a tackle in the backfield, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery in this one. We also have Elias Dyson with 1 interception and a fumble recovery. Remember, Dyson part of our all Cochise and first team secondary last year. If you don't know what that is, folks, stay tuned. At the end of the season, we make our All-American teams, but since we only cover Cochise, we call it our all Cochisean team. Dumb name.
No, he's the best.
I know.
He's the best cornerback in the Cochise County. But
Douglas Bulldogs might have something to say about that. They got two kids with 4 interceptions, which is in the top 10.
They're the ones that didn't put their stats in, so we haven't been able to show them all
exactly,
year.
exactly, right.
So
it's not our fault.
Know, Elias Dice is the best quarterback in the Cochise County.
For sure. Latavius T.J. Walker at 8 tackles, one in the backfield, an interception, and he took that interception all the way back in the end zone for a touchdown. Tay Walker says, "Stop sleeping on T.J. Walker." Ain't nobody sleeping on T.J. Walker. Never will.
Who's sleeping? It ain't me. I'm wide awake.
We just said he took an interception for a touchdown. Who's sleeping on T.J. Walker?
I'm wide awake.
Maybe T.J. Walker. He has had a lot of interceptions this year.
Oh, yeah.
He did have a couple 100-yard games at receiver as well, but ain't nobody in this table sleeping on Latavius T.J. Walker. Not a chance. Emmanuel Bacharski had 1 sack in this game, and Sean Bookman, God, I love that name as a defensive player, also had a sack in this ball game, and that's going to do it for your high school coverage. The Buena Colts win 70-0 and drop in the rankings. Make it make sense, AIA.
Somebody from AIA, go ahead and jump in the chat over here and explain how a 70-0 win drops you in 5A football drops you. Somebody come make it make sense, please.
So I told you, offensive player of the week. I mean, we could talk about Ward, Lopez, Cedar Haney had a big one. Chase Pacheco had a big one on offense and defense. Jemiah Wallace had a big game. I just take your bleeping pick of who you want to be offensive player of the week this week. Michael Coronado, defensive player of the week. I would say up there. Latavius T.J. Walker, defensive. So what I did was, every single person that scored a defensive touch, I couldn't separate. I'm like, you know what? If you scored a touchdown defensively, you get it. Expecting there to be 1 or 2 people that scored defensive touchdowns. Michael Coronado, T.J. Walker, Raleigh Evans, Chase Pacheco, Jose Acona for the Douglas Bulldogs, and Logan Seeley all scored defensive touchdowns.
You're all defensive player of the week.
You're all defensive and offensive players of the week. Sorry about it.
No, I'm going to give out the offensive player of the week this week. It was a 12-12 game against an inferior team. Flint Davis took the Benson Bobcats
150 carries, 150 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And put him the truck stick. If you want some entertainment, go back and watch the second half of that Benson game against Catalina, because Flint Davis, some poor safety was backing up on backpedaling, and Flint Davis, bang, and just knocked him silly as he ran it into the end zone. Flint Davis took the Benson Bobcats, put him on his back, won that game.
We could get Ivan Aguirre in that one.
No, I gave it up. It's Flint Davis.
Like Jeremiah Bethea had 3 touchdowns as a quarterback and a rushing touchdown. Like, just everyone in Cochise County went out and balled this week.
Yeah,
Thank you for making it difficult on me, and you can yell at Dave for not letting everyone get the offensive and defensive player of the week award.
No, defensive player. There's 5
Oh,
of them.
okay, yeah, okay.
There's 5 of them.
Because you don't want to make everyone mad.
Flint Davis is the offensive player of the week. I was there. I saw it. Benson was staggering. Flint Davis said, "I got you. Hold my drink." And he single-handedly just started whooping Catalina and established that presence that Benson needed.
All right, then, folks. That's going to do it for our coverage. Now we're going to move over to Paul's Power Rankings. And you can see this week we actually had them set up for the way it's been for the last couple of weeks, because it's been a long time since Cochise County teams lost. Unfortunately, that happened this week, and the Valley Union Blue Devils season has come to an end. So our 6th-ranked team in the power rankings goes by the wayside. So here's what we're going to do, Dave. You're going to take that Marine Academy Eagle hat, put it right over the Tombstone Yellow Jackets, and those are our new rankings. We have ALA of Sierra Vista. We have the Douglas Bulldogs, Tombstone Yellow Jackets,
be off the table.
Marine Academy Eagles, Benson Bobcats. This one for our top 5. I guess they're both in the top 5 now. Anyway, shut up, Paul. For 4th, I guess. Bisbee Pumas, St. David Tiger, Buena Colts. It's so weird because you always say Bisbee can't get up. Well, when you beat a team 66-14, that's a top 5 team in 1A, and then you win 70-0, it's hard. Let's just say these 3 teams are in a class of their own right now. But I will say these 4 teams right here, big contenders, and it just takes a ball bouncing your way one time to go up there and try to jump some teams. But I'll tell you, Dave, how do you feel about these rankings?
Well, let's go. In the playoffs. If you beat Wilcox, you have to beat Wilcox in the playoffs, and you have to beat Bisbee. Like, that's it.
Nice.
If you don't beat Bisbee, you're not going. So that's it. You have one game in Tombstone. We know how we were one of our first season. Tombstone, Holstein, Bisbee. What a game that was, Diego Chavez. But it's always a game. So you get your rival in your house. You want the playoffs, you got to go earn it.
Douglas, unfortunately, you can win the region and you're not going to make the playoffs. We found out last year. We were so excited. Like, oh, Douglas, all they have to do is win the region. I think it was Wildman in the chat.
Yeah.
Like, no,
But
it
no,
just doesn't matter.
Matter.
We don't know if you're in the playoffs or not, but 3-2 is a great start to your season. Take care of business in Yuma, and sorry for the travel day as well. That Valley Union, it was great watching you all year. You're one of our top teams. I'm sorry that you got shafted in the rankings. You only lost in region to a St. David team that's hosting a playoff game next week because they qualified for a first-round bye. That's just what it is. But, Dave, what I want you to do right now, so far you've been very correct in your first DaveStradamus pick and saying the Bisbee Pumas are going to host a playoff game and they're going to win a playoff game. They have a few weeks to get that done for you. But I want you to look at this game this Friday, the Wilcox Cowboys, the Benson Bobcats. And I want you to look into your crystal ball and tell us who takes the victory of the game of the week.
I know we talked about that's what you wanted me to do. And since we did our high school review, I'm not touching that game.
No, you're touching that game.
The Buena Colts are going to beat Marana on Friday. The
Okay,
Buena
never mind.
Colts. The Buena Colts are going to beat Marana on Friday. I promise you they are. I promise you they
Cheers. Now we have
That's
a
your
crowd.
DaveStradamus right there. The Buena Colts are beating Marana.
Folks,
they
we're at the-
wanted it. They talked about it. They're the number one team in the state. Yeah, right. We'll show you what time it is on Friday. See you on Friday.
Now about my question. No, that's
The
it.
Buena Colts are beating Marana.
What's the final
I'm
score,
really-
Dave?
Buena Colts and Marana? 42-14.
What?
The Buena Colts are
What?
going to smash Marana. They're not going to beat
What?
them. They're not going to beat them. They're going to kick their butts.
42-14
Buena
against
Colts are going
Marana.
to smack Marana. They're going to beat them so quickly.
Number one team in the state.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what time it is. We'll see.
I want to have a not kid show. I love that pick.
It's the Buena Colts are beating Marana.
I'm going 56-0. No.
The Buena Colts are going to. They're not going to beat them. They're going to kick their butts. Like, I'm going to let Wilcox and Benson tell their own story. I'm just going to go call the game. The Buena Colts are beating Marana. That's it.
It's because you don't want any hate from either of the communities.
No, it's not that at all.
Dave is beloved in
It's because I
Wilcox,
don't know who's gonna win
Arizona,
that game.
and Benson,
I don't know
Arizona.
who's going to win that game. I don't like being wrong. I do know who's going to win the Buena game.
I'll go back to Colin Cowherd, although this is what sports media is nowadays. You don't necessarily need to be right. Just be interesting.
Well, I'm not. No,
and I'll
I'm
take
here
it
to be
because
right.
that was a very interesting
I'm
pick.
here to be right. They wanted it. They talked about it. They have been waiting for it. Week after week, and every 56-0, every
Yep.
putt kicking they put out there, it's
on
all for Marana.
on our preseason show where we had Scrappy and Michael Luan on there.
What did they say? Marana.
On the show,
Well,
off the
Casa
show,
Grande,
on the record, off the record, they said we have two games this week. Casa Grande Casa Grande, who got us last year, which really hurt their chance at the postseason, made them go on the road, and Marana.
Yep.
And they have been looking at Marana all
Yep.
season.
Every time they win by 50 points, they're like, "You watching? Are you watching Marana? Because we're coming." So yes, the Buena Colts are beating Marana.
I think it's time
Yes.
to pivot over.
I'm gonna. Woo! The smile on my face will be so big when you pull that off. I swear to God, because that means it's playoff time for the winning. That means we can win the whole thing.
I can't wait for Buena to beat Marana and drop to 11 in the rankings. But that's going to do. We're going to pivot away from all of our high school coverage. Dave, I want you to give me 3 questions that you want me to talk about before we pivot into your diatribe.
Oh, I got to open up my book here.
All right, notes. There
All
we
right.
go.
Well, this one is easy because everybody has their take on it, but I want the real take on it. Tua Tagovailoa is going to play on Sunday. How do you feel about that?
Not great. End of discussion. Not great on that one. You talk about the amount of concussions he's had, and then you also take into account the last concussion he had where he did the posturing over just a normal football play.
Regular play.
Where his head went into the thigh pad of someone else. The guy wasn't even moving, and then all of a sudden he's concussed. And we have 350-pound linemen. We have 250-pound linebackers, all of which that bench 300 to 400-pound, no problem squat. They're explosive players, and they're going to be hitting you as hard as they can. It is not great for Tua Tagovailoa to come back to play, but how are you going to tell a football player you can't do that thing that you've been doing your whole life?
His words,
this is what you worked for.
His words were, "You can die in a car accident," blah blah blah.
Oh, so he's already preparing for death. That's an even worse sign.
His words.
I don't want to talk about that. That's depressing.
All right. Oh, sorry. It was an easy one. All right. Well, then we're going to go back to some Pizzy preseason stuff. The NFC West. What's going on? The Rams are broken. The Niners look lost. Seattle is the biggest who knows that you've ever seen in your life. And then there's the Arizona Cardinals. So, I mean, what do you make of the NFC West right now?
Well, Dave,
if you want to talk about some Niners, let's talk about some Niners.
If you wanted to, no, we talk about the teams that people will watch for. If you wanted to talk, if you want to go back to the preseason, you also give me a question: who's going to go worst to first? I said it was going to be the team that had the best chance to do it was the Arizona Cardinals for that exact reason, and that the book has been out on Brock Purdy now. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, but I'm saying teams understand how to scheme him up now, and so they're going to make it a little more difficult. Kyle Shanahan's still a great offensive mind. But at the same time, they know your tendencies and they know where you like to go with the football.
Well, and injuries. Ayuk's out for the year. Debo's in the hospital. C-Mac's not.
Everyone wants to discredit Geno Smith, but it's not been a Geno Smith problem in Seattle. It's a defense that can't get stops when they need them, or stops at all. When you're talking, Geno Smith leads the league in passing with the least amount of time to throw the football. So it's nothing. And you got K9 on the offense. You've got the best receiving trio with Jackson Smith and Jigba, Tyler Lockett, the most underrated receiver of all time, and then DK Metcalf, the genetic freak, like Scott Steiner. Shout out all of my wrestler buddies, the genetic freak DK Metcalf. So it's not an offensive problem. Like, you can blame Geno all you want for not coming through in the clutch when you want him to, but let's not have there be a clutch moment.
It doesn't have to be a clutch. Yes.
And we talk about the Rams. The Rams, everyone's high on the Rams. They did make the playoffs last year, but Cooper Kupp's been off and injured. And then Nacua just got hurt again.
Retired.
It's just a team that consistently gets hurt. Something about L.A. and the turf out there, I think, contributes to all these receivers. I mean, the Chargers haven't been healthy ever. So that's why I picked, Cardinals. They're going to be fun. They're not going to be a team that's going to do anything in the playoffs. But Kyler Murray on talent alone is going to get you a few wins. And so far, aren't they tied with the Seahawks for first right now? It's 4-3 and 4-3. They beat the
Chargers last night.
They did beat the Chargers last night.
No, I think they're 3-4. Seattle's still in first, but it doesn't. But it's a week. It's not like you're like, oh, we're in first. Like, no, like you're a game.
You want to play better for sure.
Yeah, you're a game above the Niners. You're a game above the Cardinals. I'm the world's biggest Seahawks fan in the whole world, and I got Arizona winning that division.
All right, is that the second question or third?
That was the second.
No, that was a long answer. My bad.
You wanted me to do this for the third question. I'm trying to think of a way to formulate this. Is the season over for the Dallas Cowboys? Are we done? Is that it?
Depends on what your expectations for the Dallas Cowboys were.
Playoffs. They're making the playoffs. And right now, they don't look like they're going to the playoffs. Like, they don't have a running back. And Jerry Jones has doubled down this morning and said, it's a good thing we didn't sign Derrick Henry. He wouldn't have played that well with us.
Did you see Derrick Henry with his 12 yards of carry and his 4.3 40 outrunning defensive backs at 30 years old?
He was slow. He got up to 22 miles an hour on that run, and he said he was slow. He was making fun of himself.
I think what he means is he can't accelerate as quickly because Derrick Henry's top speed is still Derrick Henry's top speed. But that's why.
No, because he got caught by a guy that ran slightly faster than him, and he had the fifth fastest running speed in a game this year.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's making fun of himself.
But Derrick Henry, the only way you can stop Derrick Henry is get him before he starts. He's got 260-pound frame. It takes him a little bit longer to get up to speed. So if he gets through the line of scrimmage, watch out. You got to try to hit him in the backfield and slow him down. Keep readjusting his speed. Doesn't matter. We're not talking about Derrick Henry. We're talking about the Dallas Cowboys and the mismanagement of that football team from the word go. I thought the Dallas Cowboys were making the best decision in the world by not signing Dak Prescott. You've heard me talk about Dak Prescott. I kind of trade the king in the mids between him and Kirk Cousins.
He's really good at beating bad teams.
He's incredible at beating bad teams, and he's really good at beating teams in his division when they're bad and making his stats look good. I don't think Dak Prescott is the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. I don't think you can win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott. And if you're paying a quarterback $60 million, Mahomes, Jackson, Allen, someone else, Burrow, they have to be able to win a Super Bowl by themselves. Dak Prescott cannot get it done. He's got CeeDee Lamb right now, which is more weapons than we see from Josh Allen, who just got Amari Cooper from Patrick Mahomes, for even Brock Purdy and the 49ers, and he can't get it done. I know they don't have a running game. I understand the offensive line is not the offensive line it was 5 years ago. That defense, I've been saying for years, run it at Micah Parsons. Now, he's been injured. Their pass rushers have been injured. You just run it at Micah Parsons, and that's it. He's not strong enough. He's not big enough to throw 300-pound linemen away. He can do it when they're on the back foot trying to pass protect, but if they get aggressive, that's a lot of meat and a lot of muscle on you. So I don't understand the contracts. I don't understand. You're paying Dak Prescott highest paid quarterback money. You're paying CeeDee Lamb some of the highest wide receiver money. You're going to pay Micah Parsons some of the highest. Now, I'll get it. They're all playmakers. They can make plays, but we need consistency on the field. And when we talk about receivers, it's very easy to scheme them away. That's why I'm not excited about paying receivers $30 million. It was the question you gave me before we did this show. You're like, you guys are trading away Tyreek Hill. You don't pay a receiver $30 million. You can put 2 people on him, and then he's done for the game. And, yeah, it opens up everyone else. But it doesn't matter because that receiver is not earning his money.
In that defense, if there is a receiver, it's CeeDee Lamb.
Justin Jefferson.
To give that guy. You know what I mean? Like, CeeDee Lamb is the offense of the Dallas Cowboys.
I wouldn't even give Jamar Chase $30 million.
No, not at all.
Because he can't do it without T. Higgins.
Oh, you're not. That's right.
He can't do it.
And who went crazy yesterday are T. Higgins, not Jamar Chase.
And they missed Tyler Boyd. I mean, the offense hasn't looked as good with Tyler Boyd. I mean, so it is what it. Anyway,
is it over for the Dallas Cowboys?
Is it over for the Dallas Cowboys? If you had Super Bowl expectations, it was over in the preseason. That was the worst preseason the Dallas Cowboys could have had. And Jerry Jones saying he's the best general manager in football made me laugh, and that's why.
I have friends that are Cowboy fans, and they were out there just shaking their heads. They're like, Derrick Henry? Like,
why don't you draft a running back? Why don't you draft, or even better still, why don't you draft some beef on the offensive line or defensive line that could stop the run? Yeah. And the secondary is getting cooked. We knew again. This is what the Dallas Cowboys are. They have superstars at every level, right? Superstars that make splash plays and get cooked on a regular basis. I'm sorry I have to be so blunt about it, but this is time to reset in Dallas, and I thought they were doing that by trying to draft a quarterback this year and get rid of Dak Prescott. Yep. You know how much draft capital you could have got for Dak Prescott? 4 number 1 picks,
couple of first rounders.
Draft day style. Yeah. I want them all.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They could have gone to Seattle and taken everything we had, and Seattle probably would have paid it.
I'm not going to say it's over for the playoffs because Dallas Cowboys week-to-week team, they'll look great.
But Washington looks good. Philly looks
That's the caveat right there, because you could still say Dallas would make the playoffs, but Washington looking really good, even with Marcus Mariota at quarterback.
Everybody in the NFC North is going to the playoffs.
Oh, man, first time we talked about the Cowboys this year, as you could tell, I had a lot of thoughts and opinions on that one, but that's going to do it for my thoughts and opinion, because the reason everyone's here, he's ranting, he's raving, that's what we call Dave, and it's time for Dave's Diatribe.
Yeah, no disclaimer needed today. I've gone hard the last couple of weeks, okay? I've said some things. We're going to keep this nice and breezy today. A player you need to know. You've never heard this name before. Nobody's ever heard this name before, and you're going to know about him right now. His name is Yuki Kawamura. He's a Japanese guy. He's 20 years old. He's 5'8". Yuki Kawamura is a basketball player from Japan. In high school, he won 2 high school titles in Japan, and he was playing in the B League, which is their NBA in Japan, when he was in high school. He was the MVP of the B League in 2023. Yuki Kawamura. You need to know this name. So he had this choice. He's in high school. He's playing in the B League. All Yuki cares about is playing for the Japanese national team. That's all he cares about, not the NBA, not anything else. So he was in college. He's playing in the B League, and he's like, I need to commit to this. If I want to play for the Japanese national team, I need to just do it. He drops out of college, goes for it full time. He ends up in the B League. He won the MVP in 2023. So he takes Japan and makes their national roster. They go over to the World Cup, where he averaged 14 points, 7 assists, qualifies Japan for the Olympics. So his dream is to start to unfold. He gets into the Olympics. Yuki Kawamura, 5'8" little point guard. They played France in the Olympics. Victor Wembanyama, who ended up winning the silver medal. You know how he did in that game? 29 points. The kid went nuts. He is now on a one-way contract for the Memphis Grizzlies, which means they can sign him to a 10-day. He's trying to earn his way into a two-way contract, which means he's on the roster. He can play in the G League, blah, blah, blah. He had 8 assists against the Bulls in his first preseason game. The kid looks good. Yuki Kawamura will be on the Memphis Grizzlies roster this year. 5'8" Japanese guy. If I told you 20 years ago that there was a Japanese guy in the NBA, you'd never believe me. It was never going to happen. But here we sit. And so you will see Yuki on the Memphis Grizzlies roster this season. Enjoy the show. He hits like logo bombs. He hits 40-footers. The kid is a monster. You'll see. You'll see all about it. Again, nobody in the world knows who this kid is, but I do. So you'll learn about Yuki. So enjoy the show.
All right, Dave talking preseason basketball during football season. That's going to do it for us. We're trying to get viewers, Dave.
He's a thing. Nobody knows. Again, it's like the Brandon Aubrey thing. I'm going to tell you about this guy, and you don't know who I'm talking about. And 6 months from now, he's going to be like, I've heard that name before. That was Dave.
I don't think we put that
so
on
when John
our
Morant
show.
decides to go Joe Mixon on it and get himself suspended for another season, Yuki's going to be the point guard of the Memphis Grizzlies.
All right, folks. Thank you for sticking
you
with
go.
us. I know. Finger
Good for
guns.
you.
They're not real guns. NFL. Don't suspend them.
Don't find me. Don't find me. By the way, did you see the defensive lineman in college that did the shotgun blast
Oh,
to
yeah.
the face?
That was.
You get banned for life for that.
That's a
one.
little unnecessary for sure. So now we have to overcorrect. But that's going to do it, folks. Thank you for joining us for our Cochise County Sports Show. Dave Davies, Paul Quarter. As always, thank you to Synergy HomeCare. And if you take care of someone you love out of the goodness of your heart, whether it be a neighbor, a friend, or just go check on somebody, you can get paid for doing that. Call Synergy HomeCare, 520-685-1035, to see how that happens. And as always, Dave, at the Sierra Vista Golf Center.
Yeah, I wanted to go home and take a nap, but I think that we're just going to grab my clubs and we're going to play 9 holes. And before we get out of here, for all you latecomers over here, this is also brought to you by Texas Roadhouse. Roadhouse! And just a reminder, if you mention this show when you go into Roadhouse, I'll be there the next couple nights. Even if I'm not there, you get free fried pickles or potato skins. Just mention that you saw Cool FM Sports, that we talked about Texas Roadhouse. We'll give you free potato skins.
One more time on that. What was that?
Free potato skins or fried pickles if you go into Texas Roadhouse and mention that you watched my ugly mug on our Cochise County Sports Show.
That's all you have to do.
That's all you got to do. So that being said, that was Paul Quarter. I'm Dave Davies. We'll see you at Benson on Friday for the biggest game of the year. Have a good week.